Everybody, we are live at CIBN TV on YouTube. And of course, you can find our website at the CIBN.com events. We are very excited to be doing an interview today with Bob Burg. And of course, as we go live today, and we've been live at our conference since this morning at the Global Evolution of Business Summit, there's always some tech difficulty, right? I mean, there's always something in this online world. And today, of course, does not disappoint because here we are with a tech difficulty. Bob's internet is down. Oh, no. But don't worry. I brought him here anyway, because you know what? There's more than one way to skin a cat, but the cat never likes it. So you got to figure out a way around all these problems, right? And it is no problem. We've got him here anyway. I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you his face as he's talking, but he is right here with us today. And I'm so excited. He's here on my phone and he's going to be talking. Say hi, Bob.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Kerry. You are the ultimate pro, my friend. Wow.
All right. Well, we're very excited because Bob Burg is one of the greatest experts that we could possibly have talking to us about networking and about business. For over 30 years, he's been successfully showing entrepreneurs and leaders and sales professionals how to communicate their value and accelerate their referral business. And although for years he's been known for his sales classic, Endless Referrals, it's his business parable, The Go-Giver, that he co-authored with John David Mann, that has become a worldwide movement. And I'm sure many of you have read The Go-Giver. Go ahead and type in the chat if you have read The Go-Giver. It is an awesome book. And if you haven't got it, you got to go out and get it like right after this interview because it is amazing. And while it's part of a 4-book series, The Go-Giver itself has sold more than 1 million copies. And it's been translated into 30 languages. It was rated number 10 on Inc. magazine's list of the most motivational books ever written. It was also HubSpot's 20 most highly rated sales books of all time. He's an advocate and supporter of and defender of the free enterprise system. Put your hands together for Bob Burg. Woohoo! Say hello, Bob.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. What a lovely introduction. Thank you, Kerry.
Awesome. Now, as we get started here today, can we talk about the Go-Giver for a few minutes? I'd like you to talk about, in the story, there were 5 laws that brings us personal effectiveness and professional success. Can you give us an overview of those laws? And as you do that, I'm going to share my screen and bring up your website and your picture so everybody can see that. So talk about the 5 laws for a few minutes, Bob.
Sure. The 5 laws are based on a very specific premise, okay? And that premise is that shifting your focus, and that's really where it all begins, shifting your focus from getting to giving. And Kerry, when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing immense value to others, understanding that doing so is not only a more pleasant way of conducting business, it's actually the most financially profitable way as well. And really not for any kind of way out there, woo-woo, magical, mystical type of reasons, but for very rational, very logical reasons. And that is when you're that person who can take your focus off yourself and instead place your focus on serving others, discovering what they need, what they want, what they desire, helping people solve their challenges, helping bring people closer to happiness. People feel good about you. They want to get to know you. They like you. They trust you. They want to be in relationship with you. They want to do business with you, and they want to tell others about you. So the 5 laws are the laws of value, compensation, influence, authenticity, and receptivity. The first one, the law of value, says that your true worth, in the business sense, of course, your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Now, that sounds a little counterintuitive when you first hear it, right? Give more in value than I take in payment. That sounds like a recipe for bankruptcy. So we simply have to understand the difference between price and value. Price being a dollar figure, dollar amount, it's finite, it is what it is. Value being the relative worth or desirability of a thing, of something, to the end user or beholder. In other words, what is it about this thing, this product, service, concept, idea, that brings with it so much worth or value to another person that they will willingly exchange their money for it and be glad they did, while you make a very healthy profit. And a real quick example would be the accountant you hire to do your taxes, and she charges you, let's just say, $1,000. That's her fee, or literally her price. But the value she provides you is so much more than that. She saves you $5,000. She saves you countless hours of time. She provides you and your family with the security and the peace of mind of knowing it was done correctly. So what she did, and aside from the wonderful service she gave you and how comfortable she made you feel, she gave you well over $5,000 in value in exchange for $1,000 price. So you feel ecstatic about it, while she made a very healthy profit. In fact, in any market-based exchange, there should always be two profits, the buyer profits and the seller profits, because each of them come away better off afterwards than they were beforehand. So, that's really the law of value. The law of compensation says that your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So where law number 1 says to give more in value than you take in payment, law number 2 tells us that the more people whose lives you touch with the exceptional value you provide, the more money with which you'll be rewarded. So your accountant did a great job in that first example of giving, so much more in value than she took in payment. If you're her client, you probably feel very good about her. You would use her again, and you would refer her to others. Well, her other clients feel the same way. So our accountant is very quickly amassing an army of personal walking ambassadors who are singing her praises. And as she continues to provide such exceptional value to more and more people, her income will continue to grow and grow. So we could say exceptional value plus significant reach equals very high compensation. Law number 3, the law of influence, says your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. Now, again, this sounds counterintuitive, right? Counterproductive, maybe Pollyanna-ish, right? But here's the thing, and this is, I think, really important to understand, and that is that when we say place other people's interests first, we don't mean you should be anyone's doormat or a martyr or self-sacrificial in any way. Absolutely not at all. It's simply understanding, as Joe, the protege, learned from several of the mentors in the story, the golden rule of business, of sales, of networking, is that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. And there's no faster, more powerful, or more effective way to elicit those feelings towards you from others than by genuinely moving from that I focus or be focus to a focus on them. Law number 4, the law of authenticity, says the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. The mentor in this part of the story, Deborah Davenport, shared that all the skills in the world, the sales skills, technical skills, people skills, as important as they are, and they're all very important, they're also all for naught if you don't come at it from your true, authentic core. But when you do, when you show up as yourself, day after day, week after week, month after month, people feel good about you. People feel confident with you. People feel safe with you. And why wouldn't they? They know who they're getting. And this leads to really accelerating the trust factor in that relationship. And then law number 5 is the law of receptivity, which says the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. And this really means nothing more than understanding that, you breathe out, and you also have to breathe in. Breathe out carbon dioxide, you breathe in oxygen. You breathe out, which is giving, you breathe in, which is receiving. Giving and receiving are simply two sides of the very same coin. Now, that's not the message we get from the world around us. We get very anti-prosperity type messages from the world around us when it comes to money, when it comes to business, when it comes to success, when it comes to prosperity, when it comes to abundance. It's just the horrible messages we receive from everywhere. So it's important that we understand that we really accept the fact that, giving and receiving are not opposite concepts. Giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. They work in tandem. So it's not, are you a giver or a receiver? No, you're a giver and a receiver. But here's the key. What you know is that the giving comes first. This is a law of life. It's a law of nature. We plant before we harvest. We sow before we reap. We give before we receive. And when we do this, we create that benevolent context for success. And when we have the opportunity then to receive, we need to allow ourselves to do so. John David Mann, my excellent co-author of the Go Giver series, we often say that money is an echo of value. Money is simply an echo of value. It's the thunder to value's lightning, which means the focus must be on the giving. The money you receive is simply a natural result of the value you've provided. But when it comes to you, you've got to make yourself open to receive with gratitude.
That is awesome. I love The Go Giver, and I absolutely love, all of the books that you've written. Actually, I have read them all. And I'm a huge reader. I read about 70 books a year, and Bob Burg's books are like the top of the pile. Okay. If you have not been reading Bob Burg's material and you are in business, I don't know what you're doing. Go get one like now, like yesterday, and get reading that book, because these books will change your life, and it's absolutely amazing. And I'm just so thrilled that he could be here in any capacity. And thanks for being such a good sport.
I told you, Kerry, that I consider us to be BFFs.
Wonderful. I'm going to put that on my resume. I'm Bob Burg's BFF. You heard it here today, guys. All right, guys. I want to actually ask Bob some questions about his networking, because in more recent times, he has actually gotten very involved in networking. I know all over the world, we have been using Bob Burg's The Go-Getter and all of his work. We've been using that in our networking. Many organizations have been using his book. And now he has a social media community that he has created called the Go Giver Community Network. Can you tell us about that? Tell us about it. And also, who do you serve?
Yeah, well, my brilliant business partner, Kathy Tajanel, and I developed this because what we wanted to do is, we saw everything on social media, the various social media platforms, and they all serve a purpose. They do a good job. But what we wanted to do, what we envisioned, and actually we envisioned this because people kind of suggested it to us, and if you listen to your marketplace, and if you listen to your customers, they'll often kind of hint and tell you what it is you should be doing. And we thought, what if we had a social media network, but it was all for go givers? Okay. And what that means is that all members would be looking to give value to the network. Okay. And they would be also willing to receive value from the network. So if you could put a whole bunch of people from different jobs, and whether you're an accountant or a banker or a chiropractor or a dentist or an electrician or a realtor or an insurance salesperson, a computer salesperson, a financial advisor, it really doesn't matter. It's a place where people who have the go-giver heart and go-giver spirit can all come to connect, build their businesses, learn from one another. And that's why we did it. And so far it's been a lot of fun, and we're growing day by day, and it's just been a blast.
Well, I'm really excited about the Go Giver community, and if they go to the gogivercommunity.com, you can find it there, and it's only $11 to sign up. So it's really very, very reasonable, something that any business owner could actually participate in. I know you've been doing a lot of networking. Can you tell me, what would be your number one best networking tip that you would give to people?
Well, so if we define networking because I think there's always, for as many years as the word networking has been around, it's typically been misinterpreted as something, that you do in order to get, right? And of course, the result should be that you receive a bunch. Yeah, absolutely. But the way you network is not by focusing on the get. It's by focusing on the give. So we would define networking as simply the cultivating of mutually beneficial give and take, give and receive, win-win relationships. So again, it's networking by definition is simply the cultivating of mutually beneficial give and take, or give and receive, win-win relationships. But the focus is on the giving. And that's my number one tip. Go into any networking conversation looking to give value to that other person. And that's the key. Because if you go in there with your big elevator speech, and if you're looking to, to sell this person something, and upon meeting them, what's going to happen is a couple things. First, you're not going to distinguish yourself from anyone else who does the same thing, because that's what basically most people do. But also, it's going to be sort of a turnoff to that person at worst. At best, they're not even going to hear your message because they're too busy trying to think of the perfect thing to say to you to sell you their product or service. So my suggestion is when you first meet someone, focus on them. One thing when I first started in sales, and this is 40 years ago, and I was on the phone a lot, making connections and contacting people and prospecting and doing all these things and building relationships. Here's something that I noticed right away. Nobody ever hung up the phone on me while they were talking. It was a really cool discovery, right? I mean, if I'm talking, they want off, right? If they're talking, they're engaged. And they're staying on the phone as long as I'm allowing them to talk. Well, it's the same on Zoom. It's the same in person. It doesn't matter. If you've ever been in a conversation with someone who let you do practically all the talking, and it may not have happened a lot, but it's probably happened once or twice, didn't you kind of come away from that conversation saying to yourself, wow, what a fascinating conversationalist that person is, right? And so my suggestion is, be the fascinating conversationalist, not by talking, but by listening. And to do that, I suggest utilizing a couple of questions. And I call these feel-good questions. I've been teaching this since my first book, Endless Referrals, Network Your Everyday Contacts with the Sales, came out first in 1994, okay? And these have never failed, and I have generations of people now using these. And that is when you first meet someone. It's to, you ask this person what they do. They tell you they sell copying machines, okay? And they ask you what you do. Again, don't go into your elevator speech, because right now, this person's interest in you and in what you do can be summarized in 3 words. They don't care, right? Not yet, not right now. They're thinking of themselves. So they ask you what you do. I would just give them the very basic, I'm a realtor with Oceanside Realty, or I'm a financial advisor with Merrill Lynch, or whatever it is. Because again, they don't care right now. And then immediately, I'm going to suggest you ask them a couple of these feel-good questions. Okay, now the first one, and let's say, again, the person you're talking to, his name is Gary. He sells copying machines. And you say, Gary, how did you get your start in the office products profession? And what you've done right here is, and this is not a clever question. It's not a slick question, right? I mean, it's just, how did you get started in your business? How did you get started as an office products professional? But what you've done is you've kind of communicated to him, I want to hear your story. I want to know about you. I find you important enough to want to know about your story. And here's the thing, Kerry. You're the only person who's ever asked him to do this, right? His own family has probably never asked him to share his story. And here's you, who he just met, asking him to do that. So he's going to enjoy sharing with you how he got his start in business. Now, the next feel-good question is kind of a follow-up, and it's, what do you enjoy most about what you do? Now, it might sound more like, wow, you must have had some fascinating experiences. What do you enjoy most about your work? Or what do you enjoy most about what you do? And again, this kind of flies in the face of a lot of traditional sales teaching, where we're taught to immediately find this person's pain, reach into their heart and tear it out, right? So we can come to the rescue with our products or services. But right now, the relationship hasn't been established. They don't know, like, and trust you yet. They don't. So instead of finding their pain, instead find their joy. What do you enjoy most about what you do? Now, you've asked a couple of these questions. You're probably 5 minutes into the conversation. And now's the time to ask what I call the one key question that will separate you from the rest. It will distinguish you from the rest. This is not one of the fielded questions. It's its own separate question that's really only asked after you've kind of really established that initial rapport. And it sounds like this. Gary, how can I know if someone I'm speaking with is a good prospective client for you? Gary, how can I know if someone I'm speaking with is a good prospective client or customer for you? What have you done by asking that question? Again, you've communicated immense value right away by being interested in him. But also the way you frame the question, his answer is actually going to help you to help him. So again, he sells copying machines, right? And you say, Gary, how can I know? So now, by the way, a really good lead into that question is to say, Gary, I always enjoy connecting good people with other good people. Tell me, how can I know if someone I'm speaking with is a good prospective client for you? And he'll think about that for a moment because he's never really been asked that question before. But he'll probably say something like, well, if you're ever in an office and you notice a copying machine and that copying machine is filled to the rim and overflowing with crumpled, if that wafer basket's filled to the rim and overflowing with crumpled up pieces of paper, that's a good sign that copying machine's been breaking down a lot lately. And that would be a really good prospect for me. So he's just told you, he's just shown you how to prospect, how to network, how to add value to his life. And all of a sudden, you've taken on great importance in this guy's life, even though you met him 5 minutes ago. Now, by the way, if this person, because the question might be, well, that's fine if they're in sales, Bob, but what if this person is not directly in sales? What if they're the CEO of a company? What if they're in the accounts receivable department, or they're an engineer, or there's somebody who, prospects wouldn't be of value to them? So you ask those same first couple of questions, but then the one key question would be more like, how can I know if someone I'm speaking with would be a good connection for you or a good contact for you? Or how can I know if someone I'm speaking with is someone you'd like to meet? So again, from the moment you meet this person, your focus is on giving them or providing them with value.
That is so awesome. I know that sometimes people have ideas about what networking is and what it is not. What is networking really? What does it come down to? What are the things that we should be doing as we're networking?
Well, one of the things is realizing that it's all about building relationships. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's very, very rarely about a quick sale. Now, here's the interesting thing. The more focused you are on that other person instead of yourself, the more the chances are, if the timing happens to be right and they do need what you offer, or they know someone who does, they're actually much more likely to do business with you then or refer you to someone, only because they see that you're not someone who's tried to push themselves on them or push their product or service, but you focus so much on them, you must be a wonderful human being. And so it's actually more likely to happen. So, so what we need to realize is correct networking is not that fast-walking, slick-talking sales guy who kind of works the crowd and sticks a business card aggressively into people's faces and says, hey, give me a call, I'll take you a deal, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bob, I know that you do a lot of work with mentors as well and helping people find good mentors. Do you think that networking is a great place and that provides opportunity for finding the right mentors for life and business?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that mentorship's a very important thing. And so when we can find a good mentor, it can cut our learning curve time immeasurably. So I think that in networking is a great way to do it because you tend to meet people and get to know them and form a relationship. And, a mentor-protege relationship is just, it's a relationship. And so that know, like, and trust, once that is established, you're in a much better position for that. Also, the more people with whom you develop know, like, and trust relationships with, the greater the chances are they're going to be willing to introduce you to somebody who would be a great mentor for you, or somebody who you'd be a good mentor for.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I'm really excited to be on your site and looking around here again. Can you just tell everybody once again how to get to the Go Giver Community Network?
Yeah, you just go to the Go Giver Community without the hyphen in the Go Giver. It's just thegogivercommunity.com. We try to keep things simple. And then as you scroll down, there's a couple different membership options, and just do the $11 a month. And, we always say it, you always hear that thing about an investment where if you just give up a couple of lattes, you can do it. Well, you don't even have to give up the lattes. This is just $11 a month, and there's so much value. So aside from the connections you'll make with everyone else, we have wonderful added programs. We're going to have a 1-hour Q&A with Stephen M.R. Covey himself coming up in early May, and everybody who is a member can participate in that and ask Stephen anything they'd like.
Wow, that's awesome. I know I had one of my members actually shared that with me, and I know I'm planning to go as well. And by the way, I want everybody to know, I know I got members that are watching along here. We've got a whole bunch on YouTube watching along right now, and they're all commenting like crazy. You're gonna have to watch the replay later to see what it's all about, Bob. But I know that many.
I know. Once I have my internet back up, my goodness, this is, frustrating.
No problem. You know what? We just figure out how to get her done one way or another. We're just get her done kind of people. At the CIBN Connect, you go to thecibn.com to find our website. Many of our members are on here watching along, and I just want to reinforce to everybody that networking is incredibly important to your business. It just helps you to grow. It helps you miss mistakes. It helps you get those valuable connections that you need to increase your profit and your bottom line faster. So you definitely want to be networking. And at CIBN Connect, we're not saying, oh, just be with us and don't be with anybody else. You know what? The more networking you do, the more successful you will be. And I highly recommend Bob Burg and his work. I highly recommend that you join the Go Giver Community Network. You know what? More is better. The more networking that you do, the better off that you'll be. Right now we're having the Global Evolution of Business Summit that's happening. We have 7 networking organizations involved in it. Guys, it is time to get networking. This is the wave of the future. Do it online. Do it now. I don't know what was holding you back, but don't let anything hold you back. Let's go. Let's do some networking together. Thank you, Bob, for joining us today. Really appreciate you. I see that Susan Jarima from the Grand Connection, who's one of the networking organization leaders, is commenting on YouTube right now and thanking you for being here with us today. So you might want to say, hi, Susan.
Thank you. And hi, Susan. Thank you so much. And Kerry, I thank you. You're really one of the people who's doing it right. You live on what we call the creative plane. There was a great book written in 1910 by Wallace D. Wattles called The Science of Getting Rich. And he talked about there are 2 ways to build a business. One is on the creative plane. One's on the competitive plane. The competitive plane is difficult. It's not very long lasting or sustainable. When you build a business on the creative plane, which is how you do it, you take everyone with you. You build everyone in the process, and your success is much more sustainable. Those know, like, and trust relationships just come to you, and that's exactly who you are and what you do. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. We love networking, and we know it saves businesses. We have been saving businesses for over a decade. We actually went 9 years without having a business failure in our whole organization. In a world where 80% go out of business. And I'm going to tell you guys, it's not what we do that's so great. It's what you guys do for each other that's so great. So you want to be part of networking, and you want to be using that in your business. Thank you, Bob, so much for being with us. We appreciate you. And we'll catch up later. Have a great day. And something I like to say to everybody is happy capitalism. We'll see.
Absolutely. Know it.
We'll see you all back in the main room at the summit. It's going to be a good one at the Global Evolution of Business Summit, and you can find that at thecibn.com/events. Have a great day. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Kerry.